Aren't you interested in learning breakthrough wealth building strategies, such as how to flip a home in less than 2 weeks using other people's money with no real estate license, or how to build a low-cost home-based business? You can discover how to take passive income from any source and invest it into real estate, stocks, or business to become financially independent investing in any market with Residual Roads Business Institute. Collaborate with Andre and other Residual Roads advisors to create a free action plan and start implementing strategies today. Go to www.residualroads.com or email info@residualroads.com. Welcome to the Investing Uncensored podcast. You've been searching for different ways to become financially independent or generate passive income to live out your life's purpose as you've seen others do it, but need insight on how. Well, get excited because here you'll discover the tips and resources to fulfill that need. Andre Stewart has spent more than a decade successfully making it happen for himself and others. This is the Investing Uncensored podcast. And now here's your host, Andre Stewart.
Welcome to another episode of Investing Uncensored. I'm your host, Andre Stewart. Today, I want to talk to you guys about, it's a lot of stuff going on in this world, man. China's talking about shooting down Nancy Pelosi's plane if she goes to Taiwan. The administration talking about there's no recession. They basically changed the definition of recession, which is crazy. Stock market rallying when there's no economic data to support that. It's like, what is going on out here? If you hear an echo and you hear noise in the background, I am in Colombia. I'm in Medellin. I'm not in my normal recording place, so you might have echo, you might hear cars. Medellin's super loud. Dogs barking, all kind of stuff going on. But anyway, man, let's touch on this recession thing first. You literally have to be living under a rock in any country in the world to know that we're not to think that we're not in a recession. Like, if you guys have heard my previous podcast from last year, the year before that, I've been saying that we're about to get here. I gave you the exact date, time, we're right here. So the fact that we've had 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth, the actual definition of a recession, and that people are out here co-signing for what the administration says, no, we're not in a recession. That's not what it means. How all of a sudden, the thing that economists have used since the beginning of time, I'm just kidding. But for a long time, that's been the way that we basically are able to forecast or be able to go out and announce that we're in a recession. We use that. We use 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth in GDP. How come all of a sudden that is no longer the definition? It's like, no, that's not what a recession is. Since when? Since somebody got in the office, or since there's a since the midterms are coming up in November? I guess that's when the definition changed, because midterm elections are coming up and we have inflation, we have a recession, and we have high gas prices. I guess since all of these are going on and midterm elections are coming up, there's no longer a recession. Okay, I get it. That makes sense. Come on, man. This kind of bullshit that I'm talking about, it makes no sense to me why people even vote. It's kind of pointless. I don't vote. I think I voted once. Or I think I tried to vote and then the line was too long and I was like, F that. I'm leaving. It's like, in all actuality, last time and this time, when Trump was president and now when Biden's president, I think these are 2 very distinct times where voting probably did really matter. The economy turned out like shit. I said that. There's a podcast that I talked about post-election ramifications or something like that. Go back and check it out. And I said that in the podcast, and this is before Biden became president. I said, if this man becomes president, if this man stays president, this is what's going to happen. And that's exactly what's happening right now, because if you follow history, if you follow Joe Biden, if you follow politics, then you kind of knew. And if you looked at what his plan was, which most people didn't, you would have knew as soon as he got elected where the economy was going. It wasn't rocket science, right? But most people that vote, they don't do their research. They vote based on games, like a game, oh, I'm blue, so I got to vote Democrat just because my mama was a Democrat, or all my friends are Democrats. They don't even know what the policies are. They don't even know what the president is proposing, but they're just voting that way just because that's how it is, which is stupid. You know what I mean? That's so dumb because sometimes Republicans, viewpoints or whatever they have going on might be better for you. So it might make sense for you to vote Republican this time. It should be based on your situation, not just based on colors or based on being black or based on whatever the case is. Like, that's just the dumbest way in the world to vote. You know what I mean? Your life should change. Like, I get why people would be Democrats if you're, I guess, poor and you want a handout or you want something given to you based on, that's kind of how Democrats push their agenda to get votes. They're always talking about, like, socialism and people that got money make too much and they should give it to us, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's stupid. So, I mean, if you're in that situation and you want to vote that way, that makes sense. Like, people come over here from other countries to have babies so they can get on welfare. Like, that's part of the system. I mean, as you get older, if you're smart and you start making more money, then you're probably going to lean more Republican because you're going to have a business. You're going to know what it's like to start from the bottom and go all the way to the top, and you might have 50 or 60 or 100 employees, and you did it. You got on here and you got on your grind and you made it happen. And so now you can tax extra just to give to somebody who's not trying as hard as you are, or whatever the case may be. So you might want to vote Republican. Whatever, man. Like, it just shouldn't be the way that it is. People just vote. And so now look at what happened. Regardless if the election results were true or false, who the hell knows? But point being, look where we're at right now in the economy. Like, it's crazy, man. So I think people should rethink how they vote, or if they should vote at all, because a lot of times, honestly, you got to be making over a certain amount of money anyway to really even feel what happens during elections. Other than that, it doesn't even really matter if you don't make a certain amount of money. So it doesn't matter if you vote Republican or Democrat. Like, it's not changing your situation if you're not making over $450,000 or $500,000 a year. The Republicans aren't out here going after welfare and trying to stop food stamps or anything like that. I mean, they might not go out there and increase it like Democrats did, but they're not going to go out here and get rid of it. So it doesn't really matter. Bottom line, man, think about the people that you're voting for initially. Read through what their plan is. Read through what they're going to do. And if it doesn't make sense for your situation, then don't vote for it. Bottom line. But anyway, this pissing me off what they're doing, man. Like, since this administration have came in, they've done so many different things that are not advantageous to anyone. Rich people, middle class, poor people, it doesn't matter. They just destroyed the economy, period. It doesn't matter. No one's happy with them. So they just did a bad job, man. And I wish people really paid attention at that time versus just trying to get the orange man out of the chair just because he was real outspoken or whatever their reasons were, man, whatever. But now, back to it. Looking at what's happening, you guys are giving different ways on how you should be prepared. I think there's a lot of opportunity, man. Like, if you look at the current stock market, the S&P is at 4,100, somewhere in there. Just a month ago, it was at 3,800. There has been nothing that has changed in the economy for that thing to go up, for it to be a rally, like nothing. We just raised rates another 0.75. Inflation last month was like 9.1. The jobs report was okay, but these are seasonal jobs like SeaWorld and Universal Studios, 7-Eleven. I mean, it's shit like that. So it's not really something that we should be out here making it seem like, oh, well, the economy's doing well because there's 400,000 jobs. But yeah, the unemployment numbers are increasing as well. There's other companies talking about doing layoffs, like Facebook, who pays their employees $200,000 or $300,000 a year. That's the part that really matters. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking the SeaWorld and the seasonal jobs, but it's like people that are in college or working a part-time job is not the thing that's moving the economy. Even though the U.S. is a service-driven economy, we need to focus on these people that are at Facebook. Facebook's talking about laying off like 6,000 people, and all the rest of these major corporations that pay people $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 because those people are in the middle class, which is getting eroded. Those people are going to be the ones losing their homes. Like, so if you look at any country, the middle class is extremely important because you look at any country, if they don't have a middle class, their country's not doing well. So that's the reason why America is so great, because the middle class kind of basically holds up the U.S. If you have a super rich and you have a poor, then more than likely your economy is going to be unbalanced and it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be like a third world country. So that's why I like Medellin. So for instance, Medellin has one of the more stable governments, actually the most stable government in Latin America. Medellin has a middle class, or they have an up and coming middle class. Most of the surrounding Latin countries do not have that. Argentina, basically, I think they're going bankrupt. So, like, where else? And anyway, I don't got to go. It's kind of irrelevant. But what I'm saying is the middle class is being eroded in the United States. And when that happens, it's going to be either you got it or you don't. And that's going to lead our country into being like a Colombia or being not like a Venezuela. But I mean, at the rate that we're going with inflation, we could potentially have something like that. I wouldn't go that far just yet because they are obviously trying to combat inflation. But we could end up like a Colombia as a country because they have an up and coming middle class. If we get rid of our middle class, then we're going to have to rebuild it again and get back to it. I put a post on my Twitter the other day and I showed Dumbo in Brooklyn. Look it up. You look it up. Look up Dumbo Park in Brooklyn. And you can see I put up 1970s through 80s. Looked horrible. And then I have a picture of like the 2000s, like right now. And you can see like night and day. The 70s and the 80s, we had super high inflation. We were in a recession, very bad recession. The economy was doing horrible. We don't want to get back there. And that's kind of what I said in my post. Like, America was here before. We don't want to get back there again, but like we got 2 more years. They just passed another $280 billion bill for manufacturing in the U.S. because we're trying to combat what China's doing with all the manufacturing. So that's a $280 billion bill that just passed. Now it's got to go to the House. If that goes through, that's going to cause more inflation. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, man, I don't really understand what they're trying to do. And I don't really think people are paying attention to what is really going on. And then they want to get up there and tout that, gas is down 60 cents. But bruh, gas is up $2.60 or $3. What the hell is 60 cents going to do for me? Nothing. If I go to the grocery store and my turkey bacon is $2 more, what's that 60 cents going to do if I can save it on gas per gallon? Not a whole lot, man. So it's just like, they're just trying to highlight these small little wins that aren't wins. And it's like so frustrating. Like the dude said from China, like, we're going to send over Nancy Pelosi to mess with Taiwan because they're in fear that China is about to do what Russia did to Ukraine. And China's already gave multiple warnings. Like, yo, do not mess with us. Do not mess with Taiwan. Do not come over here and try to support this. Like, this has nothing to do with you. But what do? We try to deflect. That's what I think this entire administration is trying to do, is deflect what's really going on. And it's just like, bro, like, dude, handle your business in your own country, man. You want to spend billions of dollars going over here and your own country is struggling. And you say it's for democracy, but it's not. It's like you're trying to deflect what's really going on. And then you want to put it on Putin's price hike. Again, guys, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm just spitting facts. So don't think, this dude, nah, I ain't either one. It's just like, come on, man, you can't be sitting here saying Putin's price hikes or this and that and this and that. It's like this was already happening before the war even started. Gas was already $2 higher before the war even started. And so, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's a lot of things that have changed with this new administration, and it didn't change for the better. And it's like, who knows what would have happened if Trump would have stayed president, right? The economy, I don't think would have been this bad. Like, I'm almost 100% positive it wouldn't have been this bad. But would we have had civil wars or like higher crime? Not the kind of crime we have right now. I'm just saying, like, would we have basically like gangs? Would we have Democrats going against Republicans and people showing up trying to burn down buildings in D.C.? That's the kind of stuff that probably would have continued. Not saying that that's good, but right now, crime is at an all-time high. Every major city in America is experiencing some crazy stuff going on as far as crime goes. I don't think we would have that type of stuff going on. I don't want to say which one would be better, but I know for sure this one sucks. Honestly, I would have preferred if we did have the shit just happening only in DC and it was controlled and it was popping off like that. Yeah, I would definitely prefer that versus seeing the murder rate go up in Chicago, Los Angeles, DC, Maryland, Texas. I would have preferred that versus seeing 350 mass shootings. Yeah, so if I could choose between that and DC getting lit up, the Capitol getting lit up, and different things over there in the political area, yeah, man, take that all day versus seeing our entire cities get demolished by crime and the standard of living just disintegrate before our eyes. Like, I don't know, man. It's just pissing me off. So we just not staying in our lane, man. We just doing way too much globally versus worrying about what's going on here. And I think that's a big mistake. And we're obviously feeling the effects of that. So, but anyway, man, like I'm going off on a rant. I think there's still some opportunities. Back to the stock market. If I were you guys, we know that this is going to be a long thing. But inside of a bear market, there's rallies in the stock market. So right now, we're seeing different rallies in the market. So the rallies could go up 10 or 15%. If you've been in the market for the last year, you're probably down way more than that. But what you could do on the days that it does rally, on those green days, you can buy puts on the SPY. This is not investment advice. I'm just giving you a strategy that you could do because we know that we're not at the bottom yet. We're just having these little small rallies. If you look at any chart, you will see that. Look at all the charts. And, from stock investing over the past 5 or 6 years, you can see that what I'm saying is a fact. So in a bear market, look at the S&P 500. In a bear market, you'll have these rallies. What you could do during a rally, puts are going to be cheap on those green days. Go in and buy puts on the S&P 500 because this thing is coming back down. I think it's coming to 3,500. But we know for sure just a month ago it was at 3,800 and there was nothing in place for this thing to rally the way it did. So we know it's going to come back to at least 3,800. I would get in there, man. I would get in there and buy some long puts. People say don't be in the market right now, but I tried to get puts a couple months ago, probably a month and a half ago when it was at 3,800, but it was too expensive and I couldn't get in there. So I was like, dang, I missed my window. But now we're back at 4,100. I mean, I think the high was close to 45 or 46. I think this is a good buying area for some shorts. To short the market, I think this is a good place to put some puts on because we know it's coming back down. I don't know if I would do tech companies. Companies are a little bit harder, but the SPY is a little bit easier because it's basically a lot of those tech companies. So a lot of these tech companies are going to do bad because the rates are going up. They're not going to be able to borrow money and things like that. So with that being said, we know that the SPY is going to come back down. So buy 1 or 2 puts to test it out. If you got money, do more than that. Again, not investment advice, but this is what I'm doing. I think it's going to come back to 3,800. So you go on there and put on some puts, pick a price that you think based on your own research. So I think that's a good strategy. Gold is getting smashed. I mean, I got in JNUG when it was like $80. Now it's at like $30 or something like that. Good. I think oil and gas is still good. We still are in an energy crisis. We are. So, and it's not even wintertime yet. So natural gas and all of these things, you see what's going on in Russia with them cutting off the pipeline through Germany, huge deal. So we know that we're going to have an issue and we're going to have an energy crisis coming soon. So I will still be in energy. I didn't sell any of my stuff, even though I want to. I still have it. Even though I'm down, I bought my stuff back in 2020 in the beginning. And you guys know, you heard me say it on the podcast. So I've sold out of some things. So this is just play money, but I didn't sell. So I'm down, but I'm still up like 800% all time because of when I bought. You make money on the buy. Remember that.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I could get into real estate investing? You can change this as quickly or as slowly as you want to now. Imagine yourself networking and making new connections in real estate globally, or buying an investment property in a market or country that fits your needs. People do. They know what I'm talking about, and now you can too with InvestFar. Connect and join the network. Remote investing made safe and easy.
At this point in time, since I do have JNUG in different stocks, I'm down, but I'm not down that much. So I'm just cost averaging. So my JNUG, I got it at $80. Now it's down to like 33. I can bring my cost average down. So when this thing starts going back up, I'm in a good position to win. Even though I'm already winning, it's just making it easier for me. Because now, if I bring my cost average down to maybe like $50 or so, once the thing starts to turn around, I don't got to worry about it going at $80 for me to be in the positive again. So that's what I would do. I would look at copper, look at regular stuff, man. We're going to have to rebuild our infrastructure. Well, that's what we're trying to do. That's what some of these bills are for. So if they're going to spend the money on doing that, then you get that. That's what you go out there and buy. Like, buy copper, which has been getting beat up right now. Buy energy, because we're going to have an energy crisis. I would even get in on some of this green energy stuff, because climate change is real. I'm in Medellin right now, and it's not supposed to be raining, but it's been raining since I've been here. I've been here like a week, and it's been raining every single day except for the last 2 days. It was supposed to stop raining in May. Here you are in August. It's August 1st, and it's pouring down every single day, which is not supposed to be the case. So climate change is a big deal. Even in the States, I think it was like everywhere there was a heat wave throughout the entire U.S., which is crazy. I mean, I know it's the summertime, but some places don't get as hot as other places, and some crops aren't growing, things like that. So I would look at all of these, look at fertilizer, look at all these things that are beaten up right now. Again, there is still more room to the downside. But what you can do, if you feel like you don't want to miss the opportunity, you could buy right now, and then you can cost average in when it goes lower, just to put yourself in a position to make something, if something miraculous happens and the stock market does rally and this is the bottom, because no one can time the bottom. But I know for sure this ain't it. So, but if you want to sprinkle some money in there, here and there, then this is a good idea. I also think you guys should get into Forex right now. Forex trading would be a big thing. I wouldn't even trade it. Like, for about 2 months now, the peso, Colombian peso, has been around 4,500, between 43 and 4,600. So it's $1 per $4,600 in Colombian pesos. That's huge, because generally it's for $1, it's about 35 or 3,400. So you basically getting a whole 1,000 on top right now. So that's a big deal, especially if you want to start buying properties and living part-time abroad, which I think should be part of your investment strategy. If you're trying to hedge for inflation, if you're trying to, have a good investment portfolio, you need to start diversifying. You've heard me say that before. I also think, you know how I feel about the U.S. going in a different direction. I think you just being able to have currency in a country that you want to live in, just stack your money up, man. Like, I started transferring money over here a while back, but when it was at 4,600, I seen it when I was in the States, because I had to pay people, employees. So I was like, how much is the pay? So I always follow it. And plus, I also knew that they were bringing in a new president, Petro. The last president, Duque, they didn't really like him that much, and he didn't do good things for the economy for Colombia. So people wanted him out. But Petro is supposed to go in office on August 7th. That's why the currency is so high, because he's supposed to be a left wing. So get it. He's like Biden, per se. He was a guerrilla. If you don't know what a guerrilla is, look it up. He was doing all of these different things, and then he ended up becoming the president. He was on some. Look it up. Look. If you were into that, look up what Petro did. Look up the president of Colombia, and look what he did before, and look who he became. He would never become the president. That's like Joe Gotti or someone who was a mobster becoming the president in the U.S. It would never happen. But in Colombia, it did. And so he's super left. Everyone thinks he's going to come in and be on some Biden stuff and just change the entire business landscape of Colombia. So people are taking their money out and they're moving it to Miami and different places like that, buying property, because they think it's going to go down. That, to me, I did my research on him, and I know that he has reached out to the former president. He reached out to the president that he was running up, the guy who was running up against the candidate. He's trying to, basically build Colombia for real. And so I think in the long term, he's going to do some great things for this country. So for me, I'm going to take the risk and take my money, and I'm going to do the exchange rate. I'm going to take advantage of that, because if I can get, for $1, I can get 4,600 Colombian pesos, yeah, I'm doing that. Because if should anything happen, I got employees over here. I got, I'm over here. I'm living here part-time. I'm going to benefit from it, regardless of whatever the case is or however it works out. But what I'm saying is, if you see opportunities, this is a possible opportunity. It could go south. But if it does, I just got a whole bunch of money in Colombian pesos and I come here all the time. So it's not going to be something that's bad for me. So looking at it like that, the dollar is at an all-time high. It's killing every single currency in every country right now. with that being said, you need to try to, if you want to live abroad, if you want to go somewhere else, get money in that currency right now. See if you can take some time. I know freaking plane tickets are high. They're extremely high. But see if you can go and visit that country that you want to live in, Costa Rica, Panama, wherever it is. Go there for a weekend or a week and see what you got to do to open a bank account. And then you start doing that. Start stacking your money, because if you want to retire somewhere, wherever that is, whether that be 5 or 10 years from now, it still would be a good time to go over there, see what you got to do, open a bank account, and whether you're doing $1,000 wire a month or 500 or whatever the case is, you just stacking your money. I would do that right now while the dollar is at the height that it is. And it might go a little bit higher, but ultimately, in the end, the dollar is going to collapse. So right now, if you know this, then do what I'm saying, because you're going to put yourself in a better situation. And worst case scenario, you got a shit ton of money in a country that you want to go visit and you want to live in eventually anyway. So is it really a bad thing? No, it's not. So you do that right now while the dollar is very high. That's what I would do. And that's what I'm doing. So you should do the same thing if that's part of your strategy, which I think it should be. I think I have an amazing life. Like, if you can look, I posted a video on my Twitter of where I'm at. I'm at like on the 15th floor of the tallest building in Medellin called the Energy Building. Look it up. It's called Energy Living in Medellin. I'm at the height, like swimming in the pool, overlooking the entire, like I don't pay nothing. It's super cheap. I'm probably paying $100 a night for this place that we have here. That is also one of our properties that we put on InvestFar so people can rent it out when they come here. So I'm staying here. And then we got another place. So I done hopped around a couple of different places that we have here that we have on InvestFar that you can stay in here. And it's just like, man, I'm eating at the most expensive restaurants. I went to a sushi restaurant, $63, overlooked the entire city. The view was amazing. It's probably one of the most expensive restaurants here, and I paid $60 for almost everything on the menu. I'm eating out every single day, and it's healthy food. There's no GMO. There's none of this stuff. It's all organic food. So I'm getting healthy, working out, swimming in the pool, doing everything, living like a king over here based on what I'm telling you guys to do. So regardless of the situation, I do have to go back to the States. And when I go back, I'm going to go back to high prices, man. In LA, if I go out to eat, like I said, you might have heard on my last podcast, I went and got a sandwich with a friend, and I think they got a soup or something or a salad. I'm in a sandwich, and it was $60. $60 just for a freaking sandwich or a burrito or whatever I had. And I'm sitting there telling you guys I'm at the most expensive restaurant in the penthouse overlooking the city at a sushi restaurant getting, 4 or 5 different rolls, a big pitcher of sangria. Well, come on, man. Like, so when I go back to the US, I'm going to have a downgrade in lifestyle, which it is what it is, man. I mean, it's not that much of a downgrade, but it's completely different than what you guys get the point of what I'm saying. So I don't think it would be a bad strategy to do what I'm saying do. It'll be beneficial long term, because I think what's happening in the U.S. is going to continue for a while based on what they're doing. We might get a new administration to come in there and change it, but it'll be a while. We might start seeing, you always hear me say the economy has a lag. We might start seeing the rate hikes that Powell did in June, May, etc., start to take effect right now. I don't think it'll happen for the numbers coming out in August, because people were out of school, like people were traveling, things like that. So I think it's going to be higher. But I think right around September, October is when we're going to see inflation come down. And when that happens, I think interest rates are going to start dropping again, probably in January, February, March, because we're going to be in the height of the recession at that point in time. They want to say that we're not in a recession, but the last time they announced a recession, it was 12 months after it had already happened. They came out and said, oh yeah, by the way, we were in a recession 12 months ago. So you can't wait around for them to tell you that we're in one. So again, I mean, obviously, when I tell you this, you guys heard me say this before, by the time they tell you that we're in a recession or that a recession's coming, it's probably came and gone. That's where we're at right now. If the president done hopped on TV to sit here and say that we're not in one, that's because we're in one and they don't want people to panic. They got to do that. I get it. That's their job. I don't think people understand that these politicians are trying to keep their job. They don't want to get fired. They got great benefits doing what they're doing. That's what I don't think people get. So yeah, they're going to hop on TV and they're going to tell you whatever they need to tell you to keep their jobs, just like you would tell your boss What if you got to tell him to keep your job? That's what they're doing. So they don't want to hop on TV and tell you the truth because consumer spending is already at the lowest it's ever been in history. Inflation in the same thing. So if they come on here and tell you that, consumer spending is going to just plummet. And then we're going to probably, like I said, I think we're going to head toward a depression anyway, but we would get there so much faster if they came out and told the truth. I'm not condoning what they do. I'm just telling you the reason on why they probably do it. They're trying to keep their job and trying to make sure that the economy doesn't fall apart overnight. I get it. It's not right, but that's the case. So you got to think for yourself. So in this situation, I think that, man, it's not going to be great living in the U.S. So like, I think you guys kind of do what I'm saying, man. And I love what I do. You know what I mean? It's more expensive now flying to get a ticket, but I've been transferring money over here. I got a bank account. I just pull out my debit card and I use the currency from here. I don't even use any of my money in the States. So I don't have to worry about it. So this is kind of what I'm saying, man. I think you guys should like do things like this, man. Like do what people have done before you. And this is kind of what I've seen through Robert Kiyosaki, like Peter Schiff, different people like that. Like this is what they've done. If you look at most millionaires or billionaires, I mean, they got properties in places in like Switzerland, Turks and Caicos. I can name a bunch of different places where people got properties and like, they do this for a reason, man. They do this to hedge against inflation. They do it against just a ton of different reasons. Tax advantages. There's a lot of different reasons on why people do exactly what I'm saying. And I'm trying to tell you why. So I think you guys should do that. But I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities, man. So what I would do right now, save your money, stack your money, because this is probably going to be a 12 or 18 month thing before we get to the bottom. I think we got a while before we get to the bottom. So in between now and then, sprinkle some in because you don't want to wait. No one can time the bottom, but we're in the beginning stages of this. So we still got a room to go. I think you guys should get some money, start saving your money. I know it's hard because of inflation, but save as much as you can. Figure out what country you want to go to. Open a bank account there. You don't got to go every 2 weeks like I'm doing, once a month. Go every 2 or 3 months. Do something like that. Just get the account, get it open, and start transferring money. So when you do go there, you don't got to worry about touching any of your money that you have in the States. So when you get back there, you still got that same thing. You got your money that you're just using from over here. So guys, man, stack your money. Don't listen to the propaganda, which is at its all-time high. There's so many people coming out, man. And I'm probably going to get censored, man. Like, people don't like, or platforms don't like when people talk about this. That's what sucks. Like, I know some people that are on YouTube that have channels and they're getting censored because they're coming out telling the truth. That's one of those things, man. Like, the propaganda is at an all-time high. Nobody is believing the mainstream media anymore. And that sucks. Because, like, where do you go when you're trying to get news? Like, you want to feel like you can turn to your local network, but they're all being owned by corporations. And the corporations got shareholders and things like that. And so they got to bring in revenue. So it is what it is, man. So like, do your research on your own and try to find articles, man. It's funny. I did an interview for the USA Today talking about the Fed lowering rates by the beginning of January, February. And I told the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? Some outlets want to hear that. That one commentary or interview that I did got picked up by the Daily News in the UK. Then it got picked up by Yahoo Finance. And then it got picked up by another, so some people want the truth. Like, you can go to different outlets and get the truth. That's what you guys should be looking for. When you're looking for information, don't turn to mainstream media, man. Look at outlets. I probably wouldn't look at The Guardian because now they're probably on a chopping block and they're leaning left too. Like, don't look for like CNN. They're leaning left, man. Like, they're still talking about Donald Trump and he ain't been the president for 2 years. Like, y'all don't got shit else to do? Like, again, if you watch CNN, man, like, that's on you. I watch everything. I watch CNN, I watch Fox, I watch MSNBC. I don't watch it a lot, but I just watch it. So again, man, like, I'm not leaning one side, but I know when I watch CNN, it was on in the lobby the other day when I was in Florida getting ready to come here. And I'm like, why the hell are you guys still talking about Donald Trump? This dude is not even relevant. He's not going to be the next president. It's not happening. He's probably not going to be able to run again. But even if he does run again, nobody's going to vote for him. Like, it's not going to happen. Biden's not going to be president again either. I think the Republicans are going to probably pick DeSantis out of Florida. He's only like 41 or 42 years old. We need younger leadership. We need a younger president because these old folks aren't cutting it, man. Like, they're not getting it right. So the likelihood of either one of them people being president again is very slim. It'll be DeSantis more than likely because nobody's voting Democrat. Even Democrats aren't voting Democrats. But if they do, I guarantee you it would be someone like Gavin Newsom, who he would win, even though he's destroyed California, in my opinion, because I've been there for the last 10 years. I know what he's done. And honestly, I think it'd be DeSantis coming out of Florida. So, mark my words on that. Like, that's me saying that. I think it's going to be him. I don't got a crystal ball, but that's just my opinion based on, what I think the elites want. They want people younger to touch these millennials and stuff like that. He is a prime candidate, in my opinion. So I don't think it'd be Donald Trump. But back to it, man, like CNN, they don't got nothing else to talk about. Why are you all still talking about somebody so irrelevant? They've been branded to do certain things, man, so you can't look at them. Fox, they do the same thing, man. They talk about whatever they want to talk about. I think certain people on Fox do tell the truth with some of that stuff that they put out. Sometimes people do on CNN, but just from what I've just seen more people on Fox tell the truth and not really be choosing a side versus people on the CNN side. They're always on the same thing, man. So look at different outlets, man, to get your information. Listen to podcasts. YouTube. These are going to be the next, revolution in media. This is where it's going to come from. I think people are going to stop watching this, TV and start getting their information from podcasts and things like YouTube, which makes sense because you got real people who are not getting paid by corporations out here, like journalists, really out here in these streets, bringing you information from real life and real time, live even sometimes in their feed. So that's what you need to rock with. And if they're telling the truth or not because they basically like, oh yeah, like right now, like what I'm saying to you. You can tell that I'm obviously in Colombia based on their background and based on the echo, so I'm not lying. You see people on YouTube video and recording wherever they are. So anyway, guys, that was my rant, man. The book comes out tomorrow, Real Estate Investing Diet. I think you should pick it up. It's almost sold out, man. I only bought like 3,000 copies just because, I've never written a book before. That was my first time and I was just trying to pay it forward. The thing, it's almost gone, man. So get it while you can. It comes out August 2nd. By the time this podcast airs, it will have been out and it could be gone. I don't know. But guys, pick that book up. It'll enlighten you, man, for more than just real estate. I talk about mindset. I talk about limiting beliefs that a lot of us have. Majority of the people have limiting beliefs from our upbringing, our parents, our environment, the people around us. And so I tap into how to reframe that, man. I tap into giving you guys a new money blueprint on how to build wealth. It's a mindset, man. It has nothing to do with the man or this person giving you $1 million to start a business. It has nothing to do with that, man. It all starts with the mind, man. We're all humans. We all have the same effing brain. It's just on how we decide to use our mindset. How do we do it? Like, what are we doing? Like, whatever you put in you, it has to come out. Whether it be food, whether it be listening to podcasts, watching rap music videos, whatever the case is, man, it always comes out. Like, look at your life and look at what you were doing at that time, watching on TV or whatever, and see if your life produced whatever that was that you were doing majority of the time or listening to or watching. Look at what you eat. Are you eating pizza and burgers all day? Are you fit? You got abs? You been working out? Like, what's your situation? But if you out here eating salads, you getting in the pool, you working out, you lifting weights, you riding a bike, you're probably going to be in a way better shape than someone's doing the opposite of that. So that's how it goes. But anyway, guys, pick it up. And I got a couple interviews coming up. I'm doing podcasts with other people. So this might be my last podcast that I might do for a while, since I'm going to be doing so many with other people. And I'm going to be posting those on the podcast. So you might not hear from me for a bit because I'm traveling. I am headed to Mexico and then I'll be back. But guys, pay attention. Turn off the mainstream narrative. Put your head down. Pray to God that I don't get censored, man, because I want to keep giving you guys content and I don't want it to, stop popping up in your feed or whatever the case is. But anyway, take care, guys. See you in the next episode. Peace.
Aren't you ready to start a business or grow your real estate investing portfolio? If you answered yes, allow Andre and the expert advisors at the Residual Roads Business Institute to fast track and put you on a path to full-time investing. The greatest transfer of wealth in our lifetime is occurring over the next few years, and you can take advantage if you know what to look for. In order to be successful at real estate investing, you need to learn how to leverage your current resources to generate quick money, big money, and retirement money. Let Residual Roads advisors craft a plan to get you through these phases using little or no money in 6 months or less. Don't wait for a job. Create one for yourself and others. Go to residualroads.com for mentorship, and for our free course, go to residualroads.thinkific.com.